Bienvenidos a una nueva serie de
Welcome to one of the new series of different mediums that we can do through the Seventh Adventist Church. I'm talking about CommSessions. On this time, first we're going to have a talk with Pastor David Sebastian. He is the Director of Communications from the Puerto Rico Union. He is a person that has a lot of then we're going to have the secretary, Ms. Mary Santibáñez, who's the secretary of the communication SAC of Inter-American. She has a master's in corporate communication, and she's going to talk to us about that. We're also going to have the engineer in telecommunications, Abdielus Katigi. He is the director of the communication of the East Venezuelan Union, and he is the responsible of the telecommunications of Hope TV Venezuela. We're going to have Jacqueline Reese. She is a teacher, expert in communication, digital communication, and she is going to talk about digital communication. And we're also going to have Mateus Nascimento, who's a professor. He was the director of Arts and Communication School in Montemorelos University. And he is expert in communications area. He has a doctor's degree in communications, and he is going to talk to us about journalism and news. Welcome to this new series of CommSessions. The Communicators Association of Inter-American is proud to bring to you CommSessions. One of the ideas of this department is transform lives. Every time that God communicated, it was to transform a life. It was to build a bridge of hope, because bridges connect one point to another in order to transform lives. In the case of the Lord, is for good. Mark 16:15, Jesus said, "Go throughout all the world and preach to the whole world." I ask you, can you go to every single part of the world? There's people that has never been able to travel. Not only does the text says go through all the world, but preach to everybody is something very difficult. We might not have the means or the resources. And the question that we might ask is, how can I connect and share to transform when I preach? Well, the communication means are bridges of hope that allows us to transform and get to every single person in this world. One of the LGY says that some of the means that we can reach different hearts may be different than the ones that we used in the past, but no one should block them, and criticism should be put aside to these new ideas. Review and Herald, September 30, 1902. We should be conscious, us as communicators, that our mission is to connect the world to God in order for this to be transformed. This should be our vision. This should be our mission. Mark 16:15 and 16 adds to this. Go through all the word and preach to every person, but it also says that he who believes and becomes baptized will be saved. So this is a change of status. The gospel changes us. but not be transformed by the message, by the gospel, then there's a condemnation. And this is what Jesus did. Jesus wanted to connect people, transform people. He would do with Mary Magdalene. He did it with Peter. He did it with John. He did it with the paralyzed man. He did it with a Samaritan woman, with Nicodemus, and he can do it with us as well. This is what communication is all about, is to construct bridges, to transform lives using all of the different mediums. And we hope that in this event of CommSessions today, we can continue to be connected to transform lives with the help of Jesus Christ.
Para que tengas el nombre, si lo menciono otra vez. Society of
Hace
Adventist
6 meses me bauticé. Yo quiero enseñarle a mi hijo que hay una vida de pecado, pero con Jesús podemos salir adelante. El propósito es demostrar que Jesús
The purpose is to show that Jesus lives in our lives on the field and outside of it. A couple of days ago, a friend of mine gave me an invitation for her boyfriend's birthday party. It was a very beautiful invitation. It was made by hand and even had a little cookie. It was a very nice invitation. A couple of days later, I found my friend and she told me that she was very worried. She had something very simple, but the beautiful invitation had generated a great expectation. And everybody thought that it was going to be something very elaborate. How can a little paper say so much? Little papers can make a great first impression or not. What is identity? It's a set or characteristics of a person or thing that allows us to distinguish it from others in the same set. The Seventh-day Adventist Church has an identity that allows us to differentiate from other religious or institutions, organizations. By its nature, we have a corporate image that allows us, and other things, allows us to have a belonging spirit that we know that here or on the other side of the world, we know that entering a Seventh-day Adventist church, we will enter a common or a similar environment. Sometimes we may not be so very conscious that what our corporate image may be telling everybody else. But without a doubt, people outside of our church, visitors, or even our own members, might perceive that the image is consistent with the principles and values that we preach. What is the identity of the Adventist Church? The Seventh-day Adventist Church formed its name from its two main distinctive doctrines. One is Adventist because we preach the second coming of Jesus Christ. And we also proclaim the eternity of God's law because we preach observance of the Sabbath. As an institution, we have a manual of organizational identity. And the GC of the Seventh-day Adventist Church has approved a visual identity manual that allows us to project the idea of a very organized church. How can this visual identity help us? This visual identity is the set of graphic symbols. It could be colors, forms, and words that symbolize the institutions, and we proclaim it in different media. For example, a letter inside an envelope that has the logos, it could project more seriousness. A card, the presentation card that is consistent with the visual identity, obviously is going to show more people are going to trust it more. Those websites and official applications are going to also be very need to be consistent with all of our symbols. People get the first impression in 7 seconds. So we don't have to be, we all have to be like. One of the most visual elements in the visual identity is our logo. In our case, the church's logo, the main ideas or the main beliefs are represented, beliefs that are important for us as of the resurrection of Christ, the second coming, the message of the three angels, the Great Commission, salvation through the life and death of Jesus Christ, and the Bible as a base and of all of our doctrines. All of those are here represented. It's just a symbol that helps us to maintain in our mission and faith Adventist. Also, our name, Seventh-day Adventist, represents not only the church, its institution and organization, but also the local church and its members. The name and the logo are registered trademarks, and they have registered identities. So, just as every other trademark, you have to use it appropriately. As a trademark, it can be used as the Seventh-day Adventist Church, its entities, its institutions, and its churches, and any other use that the General Conference is approved. Why is all this important? Because finally, this is very important for our evangelistic mission. We have a very distinctive message to share, and it's our privilege and opportunity to do it as the best way possible. Furthermore, as God, we are a group of people that is organized, and we need to maintain the details so we can approach people and have everything legal. Dear Adventist brethren, you can be sure and happy that you belong to a church that is united in a hope and identity. You can go to 215 countries in the world, and you can find somebody that shares your faith. You can know that the gospel that you share, that is shared in over 1,000 different languages. More than 20 million people share the hope that you have, and wherever you see the symbol, you know that who is behind it. A brethren of yours. My name is Paul. I am an example of a transformed life in Jesus. Read my story in the Bible. Dear friend, it's time to talk to you about another area about Society of Adventist Communicators Inter-America. What is media production? Media production is nothing more than the area to promote the creation of audiovisual programs. Radio programs, programs of radio, and even big screen projects. That it can have a special salvation message, and that they should have full of innovation and creativity. The radio is the opportunity to reach many listeners with a low cost of production. You can then develop themes of interest that can reach thousands of people with a message of hope. I have had the opportunity to moderate radio programs, and you can see that through this media, we can generate a lot of good interaction. We have had people that have decided not to take their lives, or they have found solution to their problems, or even they have get to know Jesus through a radio program. It's a very powerful tool to follow the mission. First of all, you have to think about a message that you know well. This is going to help you um, share or with without difficulty in front of the microphones. Another one is find another person that will want to be with you, and that way it's not a monologue. Third, um, you need to think about what do you want to develop in that program, and this is pre-production, and you can highlight the details that you want to share in this program. And the fourth is the voice and modulation. This is going to be your principal tool. Making or doing vocal exercise is going to help you in your diction, and you can find it in your internet. Next area is TV programs. These areas or cinematographic productions are similar. They're similar to radios. But now you have to be careful about the details, because not only you have voice, but now you have audio, now you have visual. The pre-production is very important, because here you're going to develop everything that you need to develop to do in the you need you need settings, you need you different guests, you have lighting and very good audio. This is very important. Logistics, like for example, moving to the place you're going to film, and the number of people you need. And you need to organize all the information, and you put it in one document. Everything with schedules, where are you going to be, the location, the dates, costumes, timestamps, even what are you going to do in the production. And you have to take all this information to each member of your team. Remember that the effective communication is going to be very helpful. When it comes to day of filming, work to make sure that everything that your objectives are actually done. A pre-production that is done correctly is going to be very helpful in order to finish your production, your post-production. You need to work together with your editor. He needs to know how the final product is going to look like. Make sure to look for details as mixing of the music, the voice. You have to be aware of all the details. You have different options in order to do your post-production, and you can use one of these programs. Once you have finished this production, use the media that you have available. You can use Hope Channel TV or your radio or social media. Don't think that you need a lot of equipment in order to do your production. You can use, for example, your cell phone. It is important to do something of quality with simple equipment. I'm sure that you're going to put your imagination to fly, and you're going to make and produce wonderful programs for the church. We are in an era that audiovisual content is very valuable, and we need it to be this programs to be something that fills us up every day of Jesus Christ. We want you to be part of the creative disciples, that we are going to produce these programs so that your friends, your neighbors can have a transformed life in Jesus Christ. Hi, my name is Jacqueline Reese. I have a great news. The same God has given us a mission. Go ye, therefore, and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you. And lo, I am with you, even unto the end of the world. I know that you're thinking, ah, yes, I've heard this and I've read this, but we are living in an amazing era that allows us to fulfill this mission in a very in a quicker way. What are the 5 benefits of using the digital media to bless all of those? Technology doesn't have walls or distance because we can use these mediums, and it will reach a great audience. I know that at the end of 90s, at the 90s, uh, Radio Paraíso on the west of Puerto Rico, we started to um, transmit through the internet. And we have had years, and the processes have evolved, and the point that in the last couple of years, and in various occasions, we have people that are listening Radio Paraíso in various areas of the world. We on the point number 2, we need to practice. We have always listened that repetition makes practice, or practice makes perfect, and it could be true. Nevertheless, I think that the we need to practice the knowledge that we have acquired. Point number 3, we need to expose our church and our messages. Whatever we have for children, for women's ministry, and all of these ministries that we have, we need to expose them and show it to people. Maybe people are not going to like it, but the risk, I think it's worth it. Let me show you what I have for the exposition. If I am in the church where I collaborate, and this one is not transmitting, and I publish in social media different verses and videos that the preacher is utilizing. Some people think that we shouldn't be on Facebook on Sabbath, but my answer was this: it's uh, the person in the church should be connected to the preacher and not to Facebook. But if they haven't come to church, somebody hasn't come to church, we could help them share the message and the sermon for that morning. Number 4, inform audience. We can take the announcements of what are we doing furthermore than the minutes that we have received on Sabbath morning. We have created these beautiful programs, and we want these programs for people to attend them. In 2015, we have a youth wake up prayer, and we had we did a digital marketing on Facebook, and we spent about $75, and we had more than 250,000 people attend these meetings. It was 10,000 people assisted to these meetings every week, with the participation of more than 20 countries, and diversity of resources to create. We have a lot of options when we can create in social media. We can reach people of different ages and a lot of people. So I don't want to finish without letting you know that some people will go in a church where we had a Facebook transmission. We had somebody, a gentleman, talk to us, telling that he was not treating his wife very well. This gentleman was telling us that his wife was trying to get him to go to church, but he didn't want to. But in the Facebook page that we had, it was very interesting to him. So he asked a lot of questions, and we and we answered all the questions, and he made a commitment to go to church the next Sabbath. And the next Sabbath, he came with all of his family, and he was so impressed that he even asked about the education, Adventist education. And because of distance where he was living, we told him to go to a local church that was closer to his residence. So was it a blessing to use social media? Yes, absolutely. In the manual of our church, we have a quotation by Emily G. Watts that says, "We will find new mediums to reach the hearts." And in this work, we will find methods that haven't been used in the past. Then the use of media, digital media, it doesn't eliminate traditional media. It just expands the different options we have. The Holy Spirit has taken me to sow 8 to 10 souls in each of the campaigns that I've done. I am happy to be part of the people of God. Welcome to CommSessions. So how to generate impactful content for audiences. This is very important for each one of us. We are bombarded by a number of different messages every day, and we have learned how to not pay attention to them. So it's important to elaborate and structure material that is interesting and that captivates the attention of the user, and that and it gives something of value to that person. And to do that, we need it's a job that needs creativity, it has technique, a lot of effort, administration. And when we go to the media, when we have basically the people that are not our websites that have not been elaborated for the people that we do not want to reach. One of the first things that we need to do is that we need to identify your audience. But this is fundamental. And what can we do in order to get to them quickly? And to all of them, you have to try to generate creative content. And we need to identify their problems, their needs, so we can fulfill them. Okay, so we need to personalize the contents, identify your audience, like we said before, and we can personalize the messages, and based to the subgroups that we are talking to them, we will have already a lot gain. And we have a lot of tools in order to find who are we talking to. We need to create content that's specific, that is utilizing different titles, information, and calls to actions. And the publications should be synthesized the most that we can, because we don't want to get them bored. We should try not to make them very long. The content without value for the user, people are not going to look at it. Google is not going to position in the form that we are expecting. And at the end of the day, the content must be a message that is educational. In other words, we should give a value to the user, teaching them over the subject. We need to remember that the content needs to be edited, in other words, to be very useful for the user. Yeah, and we need to prioritize it before the design. In other words, if we have a doubt between writing a something of quality or a good design, we need to search or select the first one. And in many cases, we can see bloggers or YouTubers and podcasters that we have a very exquisite design, but the message is not as rich. So don't forget, put interactivity and engagement in everything in order to make better and enrich the experience of your consumer, of you users for your media. You should go a step further and be genuine. That interaction is very, very important because it becomes much more relevant and very useful to the user. The feedback is also very important, and it's to be a two-way street. If you are able to generate an activity, this is a very good first step. And this is very important for the user. When you put a story and you get feedback because of that story, this is going to be people are going to be putting more attention to it. Interactivity exists so we can have a feedback permanently from one side and the other, and we can apply it to a social media or something else. Another point is that you may be able to reutilize content without the need to recreate it or give it a new format. We can reuse, readapt the same content to different platforms, different channels, smartphones, tablets, websites, touchscreens, etc., and different circumstances for meetings, for sessions, for presentations. It's the same message, it's more effective, and you're going to save time and money in the generation of contents. And to end, do not forget that we combine text and images is a very effective strategy, and when we involve different senses, we can improve the level of retention of the information. So you need to combine then an attractive image with a complementary text, and that way we're going to generate much more impact into the user. Taking in consideration some of these advices, we will have a message that is impactful to the heart of your audience, and we will able to fulfill in a satisfactory way the mandate that we have in Mark 16:15.